G'day everyone, it's Justin and
Scott.
two dads again from BRRRRRM Australia, and we're coming to you today with a 2018 Toyota Camry Hybrid. Now mate, I brought something down today that most people I guess might have experienced more in the back seat rather than driving, isn't it?
Absolutely. This car is one that really dominates the taxi and Uber industry in Australia now.
Yeah.
With the loss of Falcon and Commodore, local brands, and even this being the first imported Camry.
That's right.
Traditionally made in Australia. Now, it seems to be used a lot as taxis. Ubers, and actually still very strong in the retail market too.
Yeah. So I suppose, from our channel, looking at fun and family-friendly cars, I mean, if you're looking at something, on a budget, I guess, as much as $30,000 can be, I suppose, but you want something really economical, I thought it might be a good idea to have a look at maybe a hybrid car. And, as you said, with Uber and taxis and things like that, the most popular car, I guess, that you see everywhere is the Camry Hybrid, isn't it?
And there must be a reason, right? They're doing big kilometres, they're wanting to keep their costs down to ferry people around, and they also want it to be very practical as well.
So I guess, as you said, this is the 8th generation Camry. Camry's been around for a long time, hasn't it? Yeah. So I've noticed actually, it's growing. It's got a bit bigger.
Yes.
As well. I don't know if most people are aware of how hybrids work. I mean, if you're just a normal family person and never thought about hybrids and that, hybrid cars like this one has a petrol engine in the front, a 2.5 litre four-cylinder petrol engine, coupled with an electric motor with a battery in the back. So what it actually does, I guess, is vary between the petrol engine and the electrical motor, as well as using a combination of both to get going. So you can either be very economical, or actually the fun part about it, I guess, is the power when both are used together. I mean, this thing, 160 kilowatts, 420 odd newton meters of torque.
Exactly.
When you put your foot down, so it doesn't hang around. Actually, it's
no. It's I was very impressed actually. Power to the size of the car and everything, it does that very capably.
Yeah, and I think 4.2 litres per 100 Ks. That's pretty good fuel consumption, isn't it?
So that's where it really hits the road, right? In terms of your average cost of fuel and stuff, you're not going to be filling up very often for just around the city driving.
Mate, I've driven it for the week, and I've been in bumper-to-bumper traffic going into town, everything like that, and I've got, I wasn't trying to do an economy run, but 5.2, 5.3 litres per 100 Ks.
You're pretty close to those figures that they're quoting. Yep.
And especially these days, with petrol nudging, $1.90, $2 a litre, that's bloody good, actually.
Very good.
Yeah. So I guess as a family car, I think this is the entry-level model for a hybrid. So it's the most affordable one.
Yes.
$29,990 list price from Toyota. I guess it's fairly, I shudder to use the word basic these days. I mean, the hybrid sort of get up in this thing probably costs Toyota a lot of money as well. But entry level. Probably the best thing to say is what it doesn't come with, I suppose. I mean, there's a few things it doesn't. Navigation, that's not available on the basic model. Parking sensors, my pet hate. You can get them as an option. Don't get them. Yep. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you can't get that on the car. However, they have done a fairly good job with safety. I think, it comes standard with autonomous emergency braking, forward collision warning, lane departure warning as well, along with all the other standard, safety features, ABS and things like that. So, and if you want to go and get a bit more safety in your Camry, you've got to go in the higher ranges, I suppose. I mean, you can get rear cross traffic alert and stuff like that. So,
absolutely. And that's the thing with the Camry, there's a whole range of them. We're not going to go into them today, but really just focused on the hybrid today.
Yeah.
And I think for that price point, $30,000, obviously they focused on the hybrid element of this car and missed out a few other things, right? They're building to a price point.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And this one's made in Japan. So, I found it during the week, no rattles, no squeaks. Quality was pretty good on the car. So,
absolutely.
Now, mate, you've had a drive of it.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Give us your impressions.
Seating position in the car is very good. The size of the car inside is just terrific in terms of being family friendly. So you feel very comfortable getting in it. This one's got the cloth seats, but they're very comfortable, reasonably supportive. Steering, light, but reasonably good and direct around the city. It sort of would do the job really, really well. And in terms of power, we touched on it. Really, if you have to take off, it can.
Yeah, one new thing this model has is a sport mode.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't really affect your steering or suspension or anything like that. But it just actually,
if you know you need a little bit extra, it's worth using
it does
that.
Go, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Which is surprising. Considering I thought it had more of an economy bent, it actually goes. So,
other things inside the car, there's a few sort of nice styling touches. There are some hard plastics as well. Again, that's what, price point, that's what we probably expect.
I think it's typical Toyota sensible, isn't it?
Yep.
That's what it comes across as, isn't it?
Yeah, with the little bits of flair around the dash and everything we saw in there, so it's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yep. Seating, I sat in the back as well.
Yep.
And comfortable definitely for 4 adults in this car, 2 in the back, 2 in the front. The middle seat, you could do some short distance stuff with an adult. There's still enough headroom, but you wouldn't want to be on that seat for too long, I don't think. It's not as comfortable.
It has got the rear vents as well, which is good for kids in the back. So
keep that ventilation going through. Yeah, very good.
And I thought, the leg room was pretty good. So
definitely. Leg and headroom
than me,
is definitely good in the back, Yep. And boot space, you could fit a fair bit into that back boot.
Yeah, I think what they've done with this one, I read the press release on it, they've taken the battery out of the boot and put it under the rear seat.
Okay.
So, so for packaging, it's probably a bit better for the car.
Okay.
It's all right. Now, mate, there are a couple of good things this car does come with, the hybrid model, and that which I personally like. It does come with the keyless entry comfort access.
Okay. Yep.
I love
Hard
that.
to get, once you're used to that, to give it up.
Yeah, keep your key in your pocket. That's really good. Lumbar support, actually, in the driver's seat. Okay. So it's electric lumbar support. So that's good if you're an old bloke like me and you need to do the back.
It doesn't worry me. Yeah.
Now, mate, servicing. I think there's some good and bad points about that. I mean, it's a cap price service car, so there are limits on what you're supposed to pay for a service on this car.
Okay.
But warranty, 3-year, 100,000 K.
We keep saying 3 years is not good enough anymore when you've got people out there offering 7+.
Yeah, could be
really
better,
3 years doesn't give people that assurity they need, right? So that's a risk you take, I suppose, with this car. I mean, they are built to high standard. They are Toyotas. That rarely things go wrong, but you don't have that assurance.
Yeah, that's true. Now, our usual question of is it something that you would look back at styling and that? What do you think?
The front of this, they've got some pretty aggressive design cues, which was quite interesting. I think a Camry is built for practicality and not so much for the looks and the flair. So for this one, I'd probably say no.
You know what, I'm going to go out the other way, actually. I've seen pictures. I mean, this particular basic model, I'd agree. It is fairly, anonymous in the way that it blends in with every other Camry out there.
Yes.
But they have got some sportier models that actually, with a bit more in terms of the body kit and stuff like that. They look pretty good, actually. And I think, the extra size length of the car, that front end is very aggressive, I think.
It is,
yeah, which is really cool. But look, for what it is, I think you can make it look a little bit better. So it looks pretty cool. So anyway, beg to differ.
Yep.
In summary, I think the good points about this car are it's really quiet. I think, if you've had a bad day at work and you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic like I was last week, somebody breaks down the bloody harbour tunnel, this car was actually a nice place to be. And I think it's a lot to do, not only, I guess, with the electric power of the car, but, Toyota's spec'd some really good Michelin Primacy quiet tyres on the car too, Economical tyres, which is good. So, it is comfortable. It is quiet, plenty of room in the thing. Yep. I like it for that reason. So, I mean, it's fun part of the car. I don't know. I mean, if you're a hypermiler and you want to see how low you can get with your fuel consumption and everything like that, that could be a bit of fun for you.
Yes.
But from a sporty standpoint, it's probably not that kind of car. But
and I don't think it's ever promising to be that.
No,
I think for me it's about the space, right? The boot and the inside. There's a huge amount of cabin space. So if you've got bigger people or you've got family that you need to get into this thing with lots of stuff, it's a great car. And you know what? I sort of like the fact that it's an entry-level car, that it is the price it is. It's not promising to be everything. And if you want a car with the hybrid, easy to run, cheap to run, quiet to run, it does a lot good.
It reminds me back in the 80s and 90s, like a Falcon GL or a Commodore Executive or something like that.
Absolutely.
So, it's great. Like, it's nice to see, bang, this is your basic car, but you know, it's very fuel efficient. Like that's really good.
Yep.
So if you're on a family on a budget and you don't want an SUV, have a look at one of these.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. Anyway, just want to put out a big thank you to our friends at Toyota Australia for the loan of the Camry this week. It's it's been interesting driving one of these, I think. So that's good. And I guess we'll see you next time.
See you guys.